Oh yeah, gamers, we are back, baby, with another episode of Have You Played? My name is Matt Hall.
And I'm Andrew Taylor. And I can't do that voice, but today we're going to be checking out my review of a really cool game called Downwell.
And I hear we'll also be looking briefly at a derivative title called
Shootie Boots.
I thought it was Shitty Boots.
That's another.
I thought it was about when you're walking through the cow pastures and
You get a little cow pie action going on.
you get shitty boots on your way home.
They get stuck in the quicksand. You
Happens to
take a
me
step.
when I'm on the farm.
What do you say when that happens?
I go, God damn it. Fuck. Oh, I need the hose. Give me the hose and the brush.
Who are you talking to when that
The farm
happens?
hand.
Oh, okay. Thought you were alone.
No, I don't own a farm. I'm on someone else's farm. Fucking go to the video.
Downwell is a neat little game. Its simplicity is its strength, and I don't want to spend too much time over explaining it, so let's get straight to the point. Published by, you guessed it, Devolver Digital in 2015, Downwell is a vertical scrolling, procedurally generated platformer. Basically, you jump down a well equipped with your gun boots and try to get as deep as you can. You can shoot from your boots to slow your falls and damage enemies. You have a limited number of shots, or charges, shown on the right. These charges are reloaded when you land or bounce on an enemy, killing them. Enemies and some environmental pieces will drop gems that you can use in the shop to buy upgrades and restore your health. Collecting 100 gems quickly puts you in a gem high mode that increases your damage and range as long as you keep the gems flowing. You know, like a berserk or rage mode. In addition to stores, you'll also find these little side rooms that have new weapons to try out. Anyone who's played a bullet hell or games like Contra will immediately recognize these weapons. You have a spread shot, shotgun, a laser, and a bunch of others that all feel really useful and unique. I never found myself trying to keep one specific gun. I would always grab a new one whenever I found it because why not? Sometimes a new weapon pickup will also give you some health back, which I thought was a cool mechanic to help you, keep you incentivized to swap weapons and try new tactics, and it really helped keep everything fresh. At the end of each level, you also get to choose a free upgrade. These are always random, but they help change up your playstyle and make each run unique. They also lend themselves to letting you come up with your own plan for your run, as many of these upgrades kind of synergize with other weapons and shit. The enemies are pretty diverse, and it was fun learning the ins and outs of each one and how to best take them out. Some enemies can't be killed by landing on them, and instead they do damage to you. You can tell which enemies can't be stomped on by their color. If they're solid around the edges, they do damage to you. That sounds kind of cryptic to remember, but as I'm sure you've noticed, this game only uses about 3 colors at a time. I thought it was a cool touch and it helps keep you focused. New color palettes are unlocked periodically as you collect enough gems. I like this blue one the most. Yeah, that one's good. As you progress downward into the well, there are 4 areas in the game, and I felt that each one made a creative and challenging use of the established mechanics. For a relatively small experience, I feel this game really maximized itself in terms of exploring everywhere you could go with this kind of core gameplay design. It feels very polished. Movement is very tactile, and the sound effects are very percussive and punchy. You really feel Downwell. The arcade nature of Downwell makes it super easy to just pick up and play, and it feels great. There is an ending with a final boss waiting for you at the bottom, but getting there will take a little practice. I played Downwell on PC, but if I was still in high school or traveling a lot, I'd absolutely keep the mobile version on my phone at all times. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about Shootie Boots. Shootie Boots is a game that you can find in Devolver Bootleg, which is a collection of quote-unquote rip-off versions of a couple popular Devolver Digital titles. I'm telling you, one of these buttons is gonna shoot. Get up with our complaint department. Shootie Boots takes some assets from Gato Roboto and repurposes them into a more streamlined Downwell experience. In Shootie Boots, you're a little fella in a boot making your way downward. Instead of moving freely, you have to hold down the button to charge up a jump. You also have your little gunshots as well. I think this game is more of just like an endless experience. The areas seem to stay the same, and a few times I found a chest with a different weapon in it. It was fun to see how far I could get in this reimagined version of Downwell.
Wow! Whoa! Whoa.
Wow. That was Downwell, Matt. Specifically.
That was Downwell.
Today I'm going to tell you about Downwell while being very sleepy.
Yeah, little bit low energy on the review.
I don't know what was going on that day. Usually I try to maintain, this is my usual cadence.
That's
maybe
your fake until you make it cadence.
Yeah, maybe I was just sleepy that day, so I apologize for the little bit low energy video, but we'll compensate.
I think communicated pretty well.
Yeah, just a little dry.
I don't want to get ahead of myself. Do you want to ask me anything?
I do want to ask you something, and I'm going to say that we're going to make up for that section of the video by being over enthusiastic for the rest of the video. Matt, have you played Downwell?
Oh yeah.
Whoa! All right.
I think I may have played it before you.
You did.
I introduced you to this game.
You did introduce this game to me, which makes it very silly for me to ask that in real life, but on camera it makes sense.
I got really into watching all of the lectures and especially the postmortems from the Game Developers Conference on YouTube. Well, the Game Developers Conference, I was watching their videos on YouTube. So GDC is, a conference of game developers, and there's all sorts of like, there's a lot of lectures that are very technical and wouldn't appeal to anyone who doesn't do coding or design.
Or is in the field in some way.
Yeah, but there's a lot of, especially the postmortems, where they talk about what went right, what went wrong, or they talk about, here's how we made this game, here's what I learned, like here's how we got to where we are.
And even for the people that aren't like in that field or interested, I watched the presentation from Control's Thomas, whose last name I don't remember.
On the Northlight engine?
On the Northlight engine, that's their graphics engine for
and
Control.
that was one of the more technical presentations from that convention, but interesting, right?
Very cool, and like I'm kind of into video, obviously. I kind of understand that stuff. I'm not a huge enthusiast, but yeah, it was very worth watching. So yeah, that kind of stuff is very cool.
So there is a...
what are the postmortems?
They're just like, they basically look at the game, and kind of say, okay, game's out, development cycle's done. Let's talk about the pros and cons of everything that we experienced, what we would have done differently, what we learned, what...
That's an invaluable asset for other developers.
Yeah, big time. And you have people like, Will...
Shifley?
I want to say Will Eisner, but that doesn't seem right.
Michael's son? Will
Eisner? Deus Ex. He
made a game.
He's one of the... Will Eisner doesn't sound right, but I think his name is Will Eisner.
I can't confirm it for you.
Okay, regardless, there's just like so many big names talking about really important games in a very candid way that's not marketing the game, because the game's done, the game's out. So you can kind of say like, here's where we fucked up, here's what we could have done better, here's what we learned.
That kind of period of non-disclosure is over.
So the GDC videos are awesome, especially for someone who loves gaming and wants to know more about how did these fuckers make these things I like to play with.
Yeah, and you said even
the developer of Shootie Boots, Downwell, did a really good video where he talked about just how do you iterate on a game with one simple mechanic.
It's a 3-button game, I'm pretty sure, because you just have jump, left, and right. I don't think there's anything else. I could be wrong. But,
I don't think so either, but
an incredibly simple concept.
It became that simple as they pared it down over time.
Oh, okay. So
it didn't start. And so it's really interesting video, and so that's how I found out about it. And I was like, wow, this looks sick. I've heard the name before. I just here and there on different podcasts or on Twitter or whatever. When I finally got it, I was like, oh, what the fuck? This game rules.
Yeah, and I believe we posted a Let's Play of it.
Yeah, we have a Let's Play here on our channel from way back when.
So that was the first time I played it, but for this review, I purchased it for myself and I played it on my own time.
And you beat it.
I did.
And I did not beat that game.
I did beat this game. I found that I think it wasn't the hardest game in the world, but
there's a learning curve.
You're not going to beat it on your first run.
Like, you do have to Well, you don't unlock anything that it stays with you through to your next run, right?
No, I do think you unlock
visual styles and
you gain. I believe you gain yes, but also I believe you gain experience. Oh, I'm a little. The details escape me at the moment, but I do think there are some things that aren't available to you until you've done a couple runs.
Okay, that would make sense.
A couple different shooting modes.
I've gotten pretty far, but I've always felt like, damn, I'm not getting as far as I want to.
You probably got closer than you imagined.
It's a short game.
Yes and no. I think a full run, like one consecutive from the top to beating the boss. I think the number that comes at me is 23 minutes.
Okay.
I think that was the maximum, and maybe, obviously that's with taking my time with trying to get to the boss.
Yeah, no, it's not an easy game.
No, it's definitely not easy, but it's addicting, and I know that's a thing that's a phrase that's addictinggames.com. But I found the thing that I like the most about this is that there's many arcade games and style games and just games in general that will introduce you to a mechanic and then instantly throw a curveball, and sometimes I hate it. Sometimes it doesn't feel good, but every time this game did it, I liked it, and I was like, because I felt like I had enough time. Maybe it was the concepts were simple enough that I was like, I instantly understood, and then when I got the curveball, I'd be like, I understand the basis of this, and I just did it in my head. I'm like, oh, that's how I do that.
There's a little bit of like trial and error sometimes, but the deviations are so small that you're like, cool, I have my tool set. I just need to make minor adjustments here or there to
have to attack
encounter
from this
different
side.
Enemies or go through different types of whatever throughout the game.
They even alter the environment.
Yeah.
The third, I believe, area that you get to is underwater, and it's just like in Sonic and every other game that has it. We were just talking about underwater levels in the last review that we did of Soldier of Fortune,
and there aren't any.
There's none in that game. We were talking about how they're bad. Good underwater section in this game. It's a little challenging because you have to manage your breath. You have to grab bubbles, just like in Sonic. And there's a couple other ways to restore it. But like, I don't know, it just felt good, which is hard to explain. It's a lot easier to talk about how something is bad. But when it's good, you're just like, I don't understand why, but it
feels
works.
good. It's a very good, it's so simple. Controls are tight, effective.
Sound effects
Sound is great.
Are so punchy.
Chunky. It's like, you feel a great, I think about this a lot in games, like especially after having dabbled a little bit in game development myself, like just, making little hobby games.
Yeah.
Making the visual effect and the sound effect, because you can go, all right, bullet exits the player, bullet collides with enemy. You just type that, you know what I mean? That's the code.
Right.
And that's it, you're done. How do you make that line of code, which is bullet collides with enemy? How do you make that feel like something?
Yeah. And
it has so much to do with the sound, like especially more so than the visuals. You can have enemies explode, but if they don't, if it doesn't sound right, if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't really go anywhere.
I do think much like, when I was first getting into video production, a lot of things will say, they're like, your audio quality is probably more important than your video quality. Obviously, it's all important, to look good and presentation. But yeah, audio is, I think that's a closer conduit to sensations as far as feeling than just what your eyes can do. Because you can watch anything and it can be cool, but I think because while you're interacting with it visually, I think sound is literally sound waves going into your ears.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's affecting it in the same way, eyeballs work similarly. But what I'm saying is that like it's causing a very physical reaction in your body. So when you get that good, think of like Doom.
Yeah.
Like specifically 2016 in Eternal, like when you shoot a gun, you fucking feel that thing. It feels like it's in your hand, even though you're playing at a keyboard.
Like Downwell is so simple graphically. It looks like a GB game, it looks like an old school Game Boy game.
Yeah, it's one of these Devolver games that only has like 2 colors, I think,
Very simple animations, heavy guns.
Yeah, man, it's so good.
It feels good. There's a lot of different weapons, and they all feel good. Similar to Contra, kind of like, laser, there's like a rapid fire kind of thing. There's like a pistol-y kind of shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they all feel great. And there's other, in my experience, I'm sure there's more I haven't even found. There's other upgrades and modifiers that make the game a lot more interesting. Even different animation cycles for the character.
Yeah,
you
as
can
far
unlock.
as like how
they're like I think just their movement animation.
Yeah.
I remember the one where he's like doing the windmill as he runs.
Yeah, doing the running man. And that affects gameplay too. It goes deep. It goes a lot deeper than you'd imagine, but it's also not too much that it's intimidating. There's enough variety in the weapons and abilities, like you mentioned, that you do feel like you discover tons of new ones, but it doesn't get so large that it's like I'm bringing up Binding of Isaac again.
No.
There's not hundreds of different things that you have to keep track of.
It's very manageable. It's just like, oh, cool, this is fun, and the slight modifier is also fun.
Yeah, and what ultimately allowed me to beat the game is that I became very familiar with what each thing did, and then I planned a run to hit certain levels where I'm like, okay, at this point, or like, I became adaptive. I was able to, all right, I'm running low on health right now, but I could probably get a boost here. So if I, focus on getting the powered up gun right now, my survivability, and you can map out a run that will be viable to you, and that's how I ultimately won. It requires a little bit of strategy if your goal is to get to the end, I think. At least it can.
Yeah, but if you never get past like the second level, you're still gonna have a blast.
It's really fun. Yeah. Really, I had just as much fun.
It makes you want to keep trying. It's one of those like addictive games, as we said earlier.
It's good that it doesn't take a quarter every time you want to play.
No, Jesus Christ. Although it easily could have been a big old quarter muncher.
Dude.
But hey, I could talk about munching all damn day. What I'd like to hear from you, viewer, is what have you been playing lately?
Yeah.
Tell me, and don't do a fucking lie,
Yeah.
okay? Tell me the truth in the comments. What have you been playing lately? Is it something that one of us should check out? Either myself or Andrew or even Stinky Jordan Hill?
PU.
Ugh.
And while you're thinking about how stinky and disgusting Jordan Hill is, why don't you glide that cursor or your finger directly over the like button and the subscribe button and the bell icon. But honestly, even I don't do that for a lot of things. But if you want to,
I've never turned on the bell icon.
Sometimes notifications are too much. I know you get it.
Yeah, I just keep it on my sub page.
Your sub page is pretty helpful.
When I want to, I look at this. But hey, turn the bell on for us. And the other thing I'll say to you is, if you like this, tell a friend. Share the videos with a friend. The channel has been growing. We're very grateful. Hello to all the new subs. But what we really need is for you to just share these videos with other like-minded nerds, losers, scumbags, weirdos, scuzzlords, freaks, geeks, perverts.
I'm thinking of a couple.
Yeah, and a couple other words that I'm not going to say in this video, but if you DM me, I will message you a bunch of naughty words.
And that's our promise to you from Hidden Machine Gaming.
All right, goodbye, I'm going to say.
All right.